Happy Thursday and welcome here to another edition of Husker Online Headlines. Sean Callahan, Steve Sipple, as we get you ready for Nebraska Houston Christian on Saturday. We're presented by Applebee's. Again, just joined the show this week, and our title sponsor here as well, StayHome.Care. If you're not familiar, StayHome.Care, they offer many of the same services and personalized care you might get in a nursing home right in the comfort of your own home. They're there for your loved ones when you can't be there. Someone could have a surgery or just somebody that needs extra help. They do all those things. Simple tasks like cleaning, cooking, laundry, meal prep, assistance with outings, whatever you need, they're there for you when you can't be there. Visit them at their website, StayHome.Care, or call them at 402-205-2233. Our heart is with you because we put our heart into everything we do. Your home, our care, StayHome.Care. All right, let's get into it. Big game Saturday, 11 a.m. Nebraska chasing 3-0 here before the game against Michigan a week from Saturday. Let's get into headline number one. Can Nebraska get up for an inferior opponent 2 weeks in a row? They did it last week. And look, it didn't come out of the gates, perfect last week. They had the fumble at the goal line. They were stopped at the goal line at 4th and 1 by Heinrich Harburg on the QB sneak play. But it still ended up being 68-0. It was one of the better second halves we've seen Nebraska play in any football game in a long time.
Pretty good first half too. I get where you're coming from. It wasn't perfect at the start, but what I said earlier in the week, I'll say again. It wasn't because of lack of energy. I mean, they came out of the gate roaring. They roared out of the gate. They got a good, clean break. The fumble wasn't. That was a problem. And you mentioned the Akron's goal line stop, but what I'm saying when I say clean break, they were dialed in, and that's what you hope to see again. What we're talking about here is, are we going to see sort of a duplicate? Are we going to see that in a daytime game?
Yeah, 11 a.m. is a big difference, and like when we go on the road at Ohio State at 11 a.m. versus 6:30. Every time Nebraska's played in Columbus at 11 a.m., they've made it a game where when they go there at night, no chance.
It's a world of difference. And Memorials, well, I mean, most stadiums are like that. So that's one challenge. I think Rule could say to his guys, let's do this again. Let's not make let's just control what we can control and not make the atmosphere part of this. Just go out and do what you did last time. Easier said than done, but they can come out strong. It's a morning practice team. This is something that you have to think about all the time. I think with Rule's approach, that's one reason I don't think there'll be a letdown. And then there's the other reason right there, number 15. Dylan is always prepared.
Yeah,
he's always ready.
I don't expect Houston Christian to have a pass rush that's going to get to Dylan. And I think if they try to blitz, they're going to pay the price. I mean, that's my early Thursday analysis.
Okay, so I'm asking you a coach question. Would you take the ball if you win the flip?
Probably not. I think Nebraska in this type of game would defer, is my guess, and put the defense. But yeah, I guess
why?
I think most teams choose to defer,
right,
just to have control of the second half.
This team, listen, I don't think like a coach. I'm not a coach. I'm a journalist. I would be inclined maybe to take the ball. Is that crazy? And let Dylan cook. Like, let him get this baby going.
I did find it interesting that Cincinnati won the toss and they took the ball.
Right.
And
it's not unheard of.
And we had talked about that for a week or two on the show going in, that if Nebraska won that toss in Arrowhead, they should take the ball and jump on Cincinnati. And I almost felt like they were on the same page we were, that, yeah, they don't want Dana and Dylan to jump on them early.
Wait a second. Why wouldn't you want to do this in this game? That's what I'm saying. Keep the momentum. Your offense, you have more confidence in the offense than the defense, right?
I think the comfort of knowing that you get the ball to start the third quarter allows you to play like that middle eight.
Okay, I recognize that. I respect that. But I'm saying in this game, I'm not worried about the third quarter.
The middle eight.
No. I mean, come on, what are we talking about?
Well, maybe the middle 8 as far as executing it to get the practice for later in the season.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because
I'm taking the ball first if I get a chance and letting Dylan go to work, getting 7 on the board, establishing momentum, establishing, hey, we're here. Get the crowd in it. Because I think if they get the ball, what do you think? How do you think Holgerson's script is? What do you think of that script?
probably pretty elite.
Right. I'm taking it.
I still chuckle when Dana Holgerson, being the head coach of Houston, naturally, like, how familiar were you with Houston Christian? And he said they might as well have been in LA. He had zero interaction or knowledge of Houston Christian.
I don't get that. I would think now this is more of a discussion about the Houston Christian coaches not going to Houston, to the campus, to the University of Houston. Why wouldn't the Christian coaches do that?
Yeah, you in the portal era, you'd almost think they'd want to kind of be allies to be a place for some kids to transfer to.
Yeah, like their AAA club, right? That's the way it's. I don't know. I don't think Dana meant anything by it. He was just, Dana. He's just very straightforward. I was struck by that though. Why wouldn't Houston Christian go to the Houston campus? I don't get that at all. Or I guess vice versa. I wonder. It makes you wonder. Do you think Houston Christian coaches went to Rice? That's in Houston.
It's hard to say.
You'd think they would. Yeah.
I think when I think of jobs like Houston Christian, though, the turnover at places like that has got to be quite a bit. You don't have a lot of continuity.
No.
Year to year. I mean, it's like our own Brian Munson, his son is coaching at Eastern Michigan as a volunteer coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's living with an assistant coach and his wife. And
really.
So like that type of coaching staff said it doesn't provide a lot of stability.
No.
And I'd imagine Houston Christian is similar, where you got a lot of people that are coming and going, and it's just a lot of changes. But we met Jason Bachtel, and he's an impressive guy. Pretty
impressive.
Nice guy.
So we'll see what it looks like right out of the gate. I don't want to discount the fact that Houston Christian could make us a little uncomfortable. I'm not discounting that. I think they'll have a few players. The thing I'd worry about if I were Houston Christian is their quarterback doesn't throw it downfield very well. I just don't know how they're going to score. You've mentioned their run game as they're going to have.
We'll talk about the run game here, but like the Northern Iowa game last year was a good example. Nebraska was only up 21-3 at half on Northern Iowa, and it was 27-3 in the third quarter. It ended up being 34-3. In that game, though, it did have it was a lot closer than it felt. I'll say that.
And I will say this. If this game is like that, it's a colossal red flag because Houston Christian is not you and I even. Houston Christian, Sean, started playing football in 2014. That's when they started playing football. 2014. You and I has a history. They have a deep history.
So you and I, to kind of put last year's FCS game in perspective, the starting offense with Dylan Raiola and Emmett Johnson was in the game late.
Mm-hmm.
And they put in a score to make it 34-3 with 4:31 left.
Yeah, if this game looks like that, we're going to have some hard conversations next week, right?
And that came after Colorado. So you had kind of a big moment the week before. And then the team didn't play. I mean, you actually saw it right away in that Northern Iowa game last year. Like the way Northern Iowa came out and ran the ball. I mean, they came out effectively and ran the ball well. The spread in that game, they do put some spreads out, was 32.5, and Nebraska ended up winning by 31.
You had the stat of the week, and this is the stat to watch. The stat of the week, in my opinion, was Akron averaged 3.9.
That's going to be in our run defense headline. Yeah. So hold that thought.
I'm just going to say the stat, and then we'll discuss it.
You're hijacking my headlines.
I'm just going to say the stat, and then we'll talk about it later. 3.9 yards on first down via the
15
run.
runs.
Yeah, via the run. Yeah.
And so that leads us to our next headline, since you want to go there so quickly.
Perfect.
You just run the whole playbook on first down.
I was looking for a segue.
You're done. Again, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, StayHome.Care, and our presenting sponsor, Applebee's. And we're really excited to have Applebee's as a part of HuskerOnline Headlines. Go on in there, get the ultimate trio at Applebee's. It's perfect for game day. With this appetizer, you pick any 3 apps, any 3 sauces for your ultimate trio for just $14.99 with over 80,000 combinations, which I don't know how they did the math on that, but there's evidently 80,000. There's a lot of sauces that you can do with that. So they have something for everyone. Plus, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, you can get half-price apps. Or every day of the week from 9 to close, you'll get half-price apps as well. That's mozzarella sticks, pretzels, you name it, all half off. And we've got a special, Steve Sipple special for you.
Yep.
You will get 6 free boneless wings with a $10 purchase. All you got to do is mention Huskers to your Applebee's staff. That's in locations in Lincoln, North Platte, Scottsbluff, Kearney, Sidney, Grand Island, York, and Columbus. Those are the Applebee's that are participating in this, in the group that we're working with. So Lincoln, North Platte, Scottsbluff, Kearney, Sidney, Grand Island, York, and Columbus. So again, this offer is only valid at those locations. And for more, see the episode description on that. But 6 free boneless wings if you spend $10.
2 things. First of all, that's not a bad motto for Applebee's, something for everyone. I like that. And I will tell you, and I can say this because I've had them a lot, their wings are pretty good.
There you go.
And and Sean, you know me, I'm sort of a snob food a little bit, contrary to popular belief. I won't eat any wing. I mean, there's some wings I've had that are bad.
Oh, there's bad, like little dinky wings.
Or real gushy, soft wings I can't do. They have good wings.
All right. Well, and Sipple's going to buy you 6 wings if you spend $10 at Applebee's.
Yep. Coming right out of my check.
All right. Thanks to Applebee's, presenting sponsor here of HuskerOnline Headlines. All right. Number 2, let's get to it now. Houston Christian should give the Blackshirts a decent test with their run game. And you heard the stat we alluded last week. Nebraska gave up, on 15 first down run plays, Akron averaged 3.9 yards per pop, which that should get your attention.
Stat of the game.
I thought that really jumped out when I looked at that. No, Houston Christian averages 223.5 yards per game, 5.1 yards per carry. So they are a running team. Their leading rusher, their running back, Zyshawn Edwards, he is averaging 200 yards rushing per game on 27 carries. Then they've got a TCU transfer at running back as well on their backfield. So they will come at Nebraska. They will try to run the football. They're not a throwing team, at least a high-level throwing team. I think the running game is where they're going to lean on, and this should be a good test for Nebraska's run defense.
Should be, and we'll see what they got up front. I mean, it's hard to judge. They have 4 new guys up front. I mean, their whole – Sean, you noticed that in Joseph Myers' breakdown? They got their whole lineup is new. Now, should it be a test? I don't know. I mean, it's Houston Christian, all due respect. Let's fantasize for a second, pretend we're coaches. Let's just do it, okay? If I'm a coach, a defensive coach at Nebraska, and again, I have 0 coaching background, I would use it. Excuse me. I would say we're not giving up 3.9 yards on first down. I'd use the stat. I'd put out a goal, and I'd put the goal at 2.5. 2.5 is as high as we're going this week. And I don't want to, you know what I don't want to hear? Yeah, but Sip, if they break a long run, then don't let them break a long run.
I also don't want to hear, but they ran the quarterback.
I don't want to hear that either.
Like, stop the run. Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, teams run the quarterback. It's part of the running game in college football. It is.
Yeah.
And so I think when you start to look at Michigan and Michigan State, they both have quarterbacks that are athletic that run fast.
Okay, coach, we're in a staff meeting right now. What if I said to you, we're not counting scrambles, just design quarterback runs? Can I do that?
I mean, scrambles are dicey because they're there, and if you drop 7 into coverage, scrambles are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And quarterbacks don't see anyone open, so they scramble. And like, I don't know if this is the kind of game where you're going to get a lot of scrambles, but the next 2 weeks, the next 2 games after, you might.
Yeah, Jake Weir is the quarterback here. I don't think he scrambles much. Jake Weir is not much. God, I hope Houston Christian doesn't watch this video because it'll derive motivation. I just don't think Weir can hurt you much. He's not going to hurt you on the ground. He went 4 years at Mississippi State without playing it down. this year, it looks like he can complete a pass from 1 to 10 yards, but if it's over 10 yards, not much.
He's not throwing down the field.
No, not much going.
And with Nebraska's secondary, I don't think I'd want to throw down the field.
Taking your chances.
Now, Matt Rule did say Malcolm Hartsock today is questionable. Left the game or was limited last week. And so they could do a lot of different things there in that secondary with Donovan Jones or Jameer Khan. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do with other players.
They're pretty deep. They feel good about
Caleb Benning, Rex Guthrie. I mean,
Yeah.
they have options.
God, they do. Those guys that you just mentioned last week. I mean, we know about Donovan Jones. He's wearing a black shirt now. But Guthrie, as you've mentioned, reminds you of all the white safeties that Nebraska's ever had. Good ones in Nebraska.
I mean, what did you want me to say? You reminded me of a young Larry Asante.
Maybe.
I thought Rex Guthrie looked like a young Larry Asante.
Well, you could. The
Mike Brown.
Guthrie's good. I thought Caleb looked good. I really, he looked like
Hey, Justin Rhett flashed too.
Rhett flashed. They have some dudes now. Malcolm, hopefully he'll be back from Michigan, I imagine. They'll be fine back there.
And this will be a game, if it goes right, they can play 100 guys again. That may not happen again the rest of the year, though.
They got 108 in.
And one of those
108.
The punter was not one of the 108. They played 3 kickers.
I know. I don't think Archie should punt. They shouldn't. He shouldn't have to punt.
I mean,
this game.
say Michigan doesn't have a lot of tape on him.
No. Now I will say this: I'll ask you: are we putting in sort of inordinate amount of pressure on Nebraska and disrespecting Houston Christian?
No, because I think everybody knows what this is supposed to be.
I think so.
I mean, Houston Christian didn't take this game to beat Nebraska.
Oh, come on. I hope you're wrong.
Well, in the history of the game, a team like, yes, FCS teams win games like this. But
I'm just talking about spirit of competition. Their coach would heavily resist that notion.
Well, they're undermanned.
Mm-hmm. But you have a puncher's chance. I wouldn't want to hear that if I was a Houston Christian player. It would fire me up to hear you say that.
Yeah.
But there's not much they can do.
No. I mean, it'd be like trying to say Canada could beat the United States in a war. I mean, they're just not equipped.
Right. I get it. I totally get it. We were standing on the campus last year.
I mean, come on.
We were at Houston Christian last year. You know that there was a CVS on the other side of that fence that you could have thrown a rock and hit.
Literally, like, if a player from Houston Christian had to go use the restroom, they could just walk out to the CVS or buy Gatorade during the practice.
Yeah, it
was that I've never seen anything like that at a Division I campus, like where like part of their stadium essentially was a CVS pharmacy.
Yeah, and I don't want to be disrespectful. It's even hard to call the stadium. You know, it's a field with a bunch of bleachers.
It reminded you of like Doane College or Wesleyan. I mean, it wasn't really a true
Wesleyan. Yeah, kind of West. We're in dangerous territory here. I'd say Wesleyan's much nicer scene than that.
Well, and it's not in a real nice part of Houston either. I mean, it's.
But on the other hand, they will come in here with a few players that can do damage. They will. They will come in with skilled players that are pretty good, and they'll get loose a couple times in this game.
We were at Houston. Remember driving to the stadium? We just saw pit bulls running down the street. We were driving the camp that morning and cutting through it led you through like a neighborhood because of the construction. Mm-hmm. You see 2 pit bulls running down the street,
just happy as clams.
All right. Well, before we go to headline number 3, again, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, StayHome.Care. Call them at 402-205-2233. Learn more about what they can do for you and your loved ones with all their great services. That's StayHome.Care. And we're also brought to you by our newest sponsor, one of our newer sponsors for the show, Tushy. And if you're not familiar with Tushy, they're going to make your life a lot easier, a lot better. They offer bidets, and you put these in your house. Really easy to install. They have different styles, different designs. Great products. Look, it's probably something, if you're not familiar with one, Do the research. They really do
Pretty
make life.
self-explanatory.
They really do make life easier.
Yeah. Yeah, in at least one sense, right? Right.
They help. They finish the job. But anyway, go to their website. It's hellotushy.com. They've sold over 2 million products, and you'll get 10% off if you use the promo code HuskerOnline. That's hellotushy.com/HuskerOnline. Remember, a hole is only as dirty as the word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners will get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the promo code HuskerOnline at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code HuskerOnline.
Bidet, that's got to be French, right?
Yes. Don't you remember the scene in Crocodile Dundee when
Nope.
he is in that nice hotel and he sees a bidet for the first time? And
what was his line?
And well, he was confused because it was like next to the toilet. And he goes, "Why are there two toilets?" I mean, he was and it shot the water straight up in the air.
Yep. So I experienced the same thing the first time we went to the Caribbean. I was like, "Well, what is this?" It's pretty self-explanatory. It gets, yeah.
It's a European thing.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. We're bringing the European things into our society. That's fine. Let's do this.
All right. Well, let's move it on. Enough Tushy talk. Hello, Tushy talk. Let's get into headline number 3.
Let's talk ball, Coach.
Dylan Raiola appears to be on pace for a record-breaking season, and zoning in on the numbers with Dylan.
Okay.
The first 2 weeks, you start to look at what he's already accomplished. Dylan Raiola is 57-73, 78.1% completion rate, 607 yards, 6 touchdowns. Well, the school record for passing yards is Joe Gann's 2008. That's 3,568 yards. He's well on pace for that right now, especially if they play 13 games. Completions is 285. He's well on pace for that. Dylan Raiola right now has 11 more completions than the next closest quarterback in the Big Ten. And then his completion percentage of 78.1 is 7 points ahead of Adrian Martinez's school record number from 2020. And then this always gets me. The school passing touchdown record is only 26. That's Zach Taylor. That was 06. He was a Big 12 player of the year that year. Well, Dylan's at 6 touchdown passes. So this game, if you're talking about Dylan Raiola, and I know records don't matter to a lot of people, but if he's going to have a record-breaking type of year, this is a big game for it to kind of push everything up another level.
Yeah, and it is in that context. What I think we're seeing is Dylan sort of growing in front of our eyes, and I think he generated momentum from the bowl game and then took it into the off season, then took it into the, the winter months, and then took it into the summer months. And now he's a captain. And I think we're seeing him hit his stride. Now I know what people are saying, because I've heard people say it to me this week, but don't you got to wait till Michigan? Yeah, you do. But in the interim, it looks pretty good. Look at that picture. Look at that picture of him right there. That's focus. That's what that is. Dylan is really intent. He wants so badly to make this work, and he's doing all he can. And if I were a Nebraska fan, I would glean comfort from that. We've covered guys, Sean, that were really good, but you never really knew what they were bringing. With Dylan every single day that he is preparing hard.
Well, let's face it, with the ranking that he had and the talent that he has, you expected Saturdays like what he had. And they didn't really happen that much last year because he was new. And, I thought a change really happened when Dana Holgorsen came in.
Oh, that's another part of the conversation.
The Wisconsin game really changed like the look and the flow of the offense. And, I think last week was, the best offensive game that we've seen at Nebraska in a number of years. And can they duplicate that? I mean, I think it's very possible.
That's the objective. And it starts with Dylan, obviously extends to the offensive line. And then you know what? Emmett Johnson. Here's the other thing about this team. There are some things that are very good. 20, is this 21 Emmett Johnson? He's going to run hard. The kid, you can say what you want about him, and I'm not, he has some limitations as a running back, but one limitation, he's not his effort level is, I would say, incredible. He runs the ball as hard as any running back that's ever been here. Wouldn't you say that?
Emmett?
Yeah.
I mean, I always there's a lot of guys that ran hard.
Well, of course, but he runs as hard as anybody.
Like I'd say Rex ran hard.
They all, I mean, all the great ones did. But this kid, he never, I like the fact that he and Dylan never shortchange you.
Gives it hell.
Yeah, they give it total, Sean, they give it total hell, which I really appreciate. I appreciate a lot, actually.
Well, and yeah, for Emmett, what does the workload look like for Saturday? I mean, he is right now number 2 in the Big Ten for running back carries, only behind Devin Mockbee.
Okay, what I'd tell you right now is if they're up 35-0 at half, if they're up 30-plus points, I'm not playing Dylan or Emmett Johnson in the third quarter. They're done at halftime.
So you're not going to give them any series.
Nope, done at halftime. I'm not messing around. I'm not gonna jeopardize the program
for stats
by putting them out there in the third quarter. And then if something happens, what the hell now? You know,
for a few stats,
right?
To jeopardize millions of
Take control at halftime and get them out.
I do think though it's about a feel, and Matt Rule will have to get a feel for this game and a feel for his team. If they've gotten the work done, they need to get better.
Get them out.
If they've got, like the Northern Iowa game, though, you had the same thought process and
going in,
and they scored with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter with the starters.
I know
before they put the backups.
No, I'm not suggesting that the Northern Iowa game you would have put it benched. You wouldn't have put anybody.
But
on
what if
right.
this game has that kind of?
Oh no, you got to play them.
Yeah,
then you got to play them. But if it's like Akron again at halftime, 33-0, I'm not playing them.
Now
that's it.
Akron did not hit Dylan. They did not sack him. They did not hit him. Can they go 2 weeks in a row without getting them hit? That's huge.
Yeah.
So Dylan did run, and like he took off and ran a few times and got hits there. And
that's okay.
We'll see more of that.
There's some guys though that I'm getting out this week, and Dane Key's another one of them. I'm getting him out at halftime if they're way up. There are not too many more like that.
I have a hard time saying at halftime. I mean,
I don't.
Even the Osborne teams played their starters in the third quarter.
I don't have a hard time.
But you don't see, I mean, usually you try to give them a few series in the third quarter. It's got to just be like embarrassingly bad to say we're done at halftime.
Well, this could be that game.
Are you sure, though?
I'm never sure, but my inkling is that
11 a.m. It's you don't get that juice very often.
No, that's the beauty. I mean, it's kind of the conversation of this game. If you just think of the big picture, the wonderful thing about beating Akron like that is what? Now you got to try to do it again. So now you're starting at a great place. You're not starting with, we're coming off of a disappointing win against UNI. We're coming off of a resounding win. And now let's do it again, guys. You showed you can do it. Akron would be, what do you think Akron would be a favorite over? What do you think that point spread would be against Houston Christian?
I don't know. I mean, there's no point spread on this game, so it's hard to know.
I bet you Akron would be a 2-touchdown favorite.
See, last year, Nebraska, Northern Iowa ended up having a spread come out late, and it was like 30.5, 31 points. And Nebraska ended up covering that number by like a point. I have not seen a number for this game.
But you're smart. What do you think Akron, what if there was a line for Akron, Houston Christian if they were playing?
Akron by like 8.5.
Okay, I was going to say 2 touchdowns, but okay, 8.5 is fine.
I mean, Akron hasn't scored a point on the year, so it's hard to.
We don't need to argue a hypothetical.
I mean, they've gone 8 quarters without a point.
8.5 is sufficient.
So I just have a hard time giving Akron that much love when they haven't scored all season.
Yeah, they need to put it for some points on the board.
They got a rough hoe ahead. But before we take it to headline 4, again, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, StayHome.Care. Call them at 402-205-2233. Learn more of what they can do for you, your loved ones. They make life easy when you can't be there for those loved ones. And we're also brought to you by who, Mr. Steve Sipple?
Oh, we're doing this now.
Yes.
Larson Motors, our friends in Nebraska City. Larson Motors. God, it is just gorgeous outside. How about going to a lot and looking at some shiny cars?
Yeah, 11 a.m. game, and then you can watch the game and go get a car.
You could do that, or you could go on Sunday, take a nice leisurely drive to to Nebraska City. Larson Motors, it's one of the Midwest only dealerships with all the major brands in that one beautiful location. So finding your new Chevrolet, GMC, Hummer, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, it never has been easier. So how about starting your new experience today at LarsonMotorGroup.com? That's Larson with an O. Or just go to Larson Motors in Nebraska City, where you will encounter real people.
Real heels. I'll never forget that moment at Zipline when the whole crowd did it with you.
Will you never forget that?
It was an all-time Larson Motor moment for you. All-timer.
Well, we're going to do it again.
Yeah,
right?
well, bi-week show after Michigan. We'll have a show on Wednesday, and the location to be determined. I would assume it's in Fallbrook, but
God, I hope so.
I don't know what they want to do. I mean, they like to promote the other locations.
Oh, I see.
But I mean, we drew 450 in Fallbrook, so like that was ideal, that setup there.
It's an idyllic setup. It is. It's beautiful out there. What a nice patio.
Oh, beautiful. All right, let's go to headline 4. Looking ahead, all eyes on Michigan. The Wolverines came off a loss against Oklahoma. Now Sharon Moore begins his 2-game suspension. And former Charlotte and former St. Francis High School head coach Biff Pogai is taking over as the head coach.
Okay, Michigan. A lot of us, I don't know about you, a lot of us thought the pecking order in the Big Ten was pretty simple going into the season. It was the big three, however you want to put them, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. And most people said Michigan's 4th. Now, most people right now, Sean, they're not putting Michigan 4th. Michigan will drop behind you. You would drop them behind Illinois, wouldn't you? Yes, you would. I'm just going to speak for you.
Illinois' Duke win on the road was really impressive.
Yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'd probably put Indiana ahead of them. They're probably 6th or 7th. And what's happening there, and Bill Bush talked about this on the ticket on my show in the morning. You should listen to it. He said they've lost their way, that Michigan's lost its way in a short period of time, that this is not Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, in that they don't have that attitude that Harbaugh brought, which was what? We're just going to line up and hammer you, and there's nothing really you can do about it. They don't do that anymore. They don't go with 2 tight ends, 1 tight end.
Do you remember the 2018 game out there, Frost's first season, just how disheartening that was to watch?
So that was Bush calling the defense?
No. Frost's first season, 2018.
Oh, God.
And
that was horrifying.
And that was a Michigan defense that was loaded.
That was a horrifying day.
And that Michigan team didn't win the Big Ten. They got beat, that year.
That was Frost saying, that's basically when he said, you better get us now, right?
No,
that's not.
That was a Big Ten media day. Frost said after that game, though, like,
what did he say?
Something profound. He was just disheartened by how much bigger and stronger their players were.
It was a bad day. Then when Bush was calling the defense, that's when it was
snowing
a little bit. But what was happening is Nebraska actually was sound on defense. They played pretty well. They're in their gaps, and they were schematically correct. And then what would happen? Corn would still get 6.
Yeah.
Corn would still get 5. Corn would get 7 because they had brutalized you up front. Now, their offensive line has struggled a little bit, and now they're a little banged up. It's not the same Michigan. Now, it's a tough test. It's just maybe not quite as tough as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and this week will be big to see what they look like, though.
Against Central Michigan,
which is one of the teams that was involved in the cheating scandal. I mean, that was the game where Stallions reportedly dressed as a Central Michigan coach and went down on their sidelines.
So embarrassing. So Michigan, they don't have the receivers that really scare you.
Yeah, their best receivers are that Poley from Indiana. I mean, they're transfers. They don't have, their own guys. And they lost a lot of coaches. People don't realize when Harbaugh left, a lot of guys left with him.
Good point. Justice Haynes, you know who that is.
Alabama transfer.
Yeah, the running back, and he's scary. That's a guy that, the problem with Haynes is he does have breakaway speed. So they'll be scary. And it goes back to that stat that you shared, which is if Akron can get 3.9 yards per carry on first down, what can Michigan get? I mean, that's what you got to watch. That's why this game, Sean, we got to track that on Saturday against Houston Christian. What's that look like on first down?
And what if Michigan decides to go old school against Nebraska because they think it's a matchup advantage where they go fullbacks and tight ends?
Yeah, I wonder if they would change it. They have a new offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey. Wouldn't you say, Sean, that most offensive coordinators don't diverge much from who they are? All of a sudden, Chip Lindsey's not going to just say, okay, I'm going to do what Harbaugh did. It's not working what I'm doing. They usually won't do that.
Well, and they have a lot invested in Bryce Underwood, a lot.
The other thing about this conversation that people are going to say you guys need to address is they haven't run Underwood. He's carried 5 times for 4 yards.
Does he want to run?
That's the thing. Would you turn him loose in Lincoln? That's what I want. They didn't turn him loose in Norman.
As John Butler would say, would they go full high school offense?
I don't know. I think what you're seeing is that Sharon Moore doesn't feel great about his backup quarterback. And if you think about last year, Michigan, they were horrifyingly bad at quarterback.
The backup, by the way, in the offseason you thought could win the job.
He must not be very good. Or he might be hurt. He was a little banged up, by the way. That's might be what we're talking about. But there also might be some lingering fear about last year when they were so I felt bad for him watching them.
The quarterback situation.
That's how bad they were at quarterback last year. I felt pity. I was like, how can Michigan be this bad at quarterback?
Yeah, and they still figured out how to beat USC. Remember, like some of those games, they pulled out a couple that made their season look a lot better. Then they
did beat USC.
Yeah, they didn't pass like the whole game.
No. And that Michigan back broke down.
I was watching it on my phone. I forget where I was at, but
you were probably getting ready to cover Nebraska.
No,
game.
It was a bye weekend. I think I was at a swim meet on that bye weekend, and they were playing a CBS game, and literally USC jumped on them, but then Michigan, they could not stop the run, and they just
USC couldn't stop.
Yeah, couldn't stop the run, and that's how they beat USC. But they got hot, and they beat Ohio State, and they beat Alabama. I mean, that kind of salvaged a lot for their season.
So I don't have as much of a breakdown on their defense, except they lost those 2 guys up front to the NFL draft in the first round, and what I've heard is they're deep up front on defense, deep in the trenches, but they don't have the high end talent. Does that make sense to you?
Will Biff Poggi wear the cutoff T-shirt? That's kind of his MO.
I wonder.
He coaches in cutoffs.
I wonder.
And I mean, if you don't know his background, he was the coach of kind of like a version of IMG Academy in Baltimore. St. Francis, I believe, is the school, and made them like a perennial national powerhouse. Blake Corum went there. And then that's when he got to Michigan. He followed and joined Harbaugh's staff. Then he became the head coach of Charlotte.
Okay.
Kind of like a Joe Moglia, a guy that had a lot of money, got into coaching, created this powerhouse high school team, got to Michigan, and then he got to Charlotte. Now he's back at Michigan.
Okay. And yeah, I think this is his 3rd stint at Michigan.
Yeah.
He's been there before.
He's brought them a lot of players, though. I mean, like when he was at that St. Francis, a lot of those guys ended up going to Michigan. But he wasn't a successful head coach at Charlotte.
6-16.
Did Tim Albin succeed him, or do they have another guy before Tim Albin?
Tim Albin absolutely succeeded him. Yes.
I still don't know why Tim Albin left Ohio.
Wait a second. Were we right about that? Is it Charlotte?
Yeah, Albin's at Charlotte.
All right.
Albin left Ohio, and Ohio just beat West Virginia.
Well, it's probably a little better job. I don't know.
There's look at the cutoff.
There's Biff. Now he's widely respected. So, no, but Sharon Moore, when you're missing your head coach, just say Matt Rule weren't coaching against Michigan. How big of a deal would that be?
Dana.
Yeah, it's still a big deal.
I mean, Dana's was the head coach of an Orange Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I think he can handle a game.
Yeah, that's kind of rare. Most coaching staffs don't have that kind of setup.
And you have Phil Snow, and you have other people, John Butler. I mean,
hell, let's put it this way: I take Dana Holgorsen over Sharon Moore, let alone Biff Poggi, right? I'm taking Dana over. Are you taking Dana over Sharon Moore?
Let's call. I mean, I really think one of things that helped Sharon Moore get the job. They obviously won the national title and had success with them there, but switching head coaches with all the other turmoil going on would have depleted their whole roster.
Yep.
They could have lost 50, 60 guys.
Yep.
And then at that point, it's really hard to recover.
Mm-hmm. It's hard enough right now.
And Sharon Moore kept stability with a lot of good players there, at least in that situation. But yeah, if they opened that job up after Harbaugh left and just went completely clean slate, it would have been interesting who they would have got.
So we're not overlooking Houston Christian. Please don't accuse us of that. We're just talking about the game that everybody's just in the back of people's minds. Nebraska's got to take care of business. Goes without saying.
And Sharon,
we're not playing. Me and Sean aren't playing in the game.
Sharon Moore cannot be in the building for 2 weeks, right? Not in meetings, not a part of the game planning.
Unfortunately, the reporting on that front has been poor, and it's sort of confusing. But what I read last night on Fox, from the Fox Sports Report, is that he cannot be involved in any way, practice or game,
travel, anything.
No, can't go to the practice facility.
He can't just sit at the graduate hotel while they're playing the game.
Yeah, no, can't do that. No can do. I'd say it's an advantage for Nebraska.
Oh, there's no doubt. You take out the general of an army, a little bit different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I stand by. You take out Rule, even with Holgerson, it's different. It's a different feel.
All right. Before we take it to headline 5, again, we're brought to you by our title sponsor, StayHome.Care. Not familiar with StayHome.Care? Again, they make life easier for you when you can't be there for your loved ones. Someone could be coming off of surgery. It could be a relative or a friend that just needs somebody to help them day to day. They do simple things like laundry, cooking, cleaning, rides to the outings and doctor's appointments, just simple companionship. They do it all at StayHome.Care, a first-class company based in Lincoln, but they service really all of the areas around. They have over 100 different people that work and go out for them. Call them at 402-205-2233 to learn more about what they can do for you, your family, your loved ones. That's StayHome.Care. Okay, headline 5, odds and ends. How about on Saturday night? I mean, the beauty of this game being at 11 is you get all day then to get ready for the big Crawford fight. Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford fight in Las Vegas.
You're ready, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
I can tell.
I've watched both of the preview episodes on Netflix, and it is just, I'm captivated, like just how Bud Crawford has literally kept his same crew of people from North Omaha that were with him as a kid
Bomac
at the CW boxing gym. And that is the crew with him to this day. And they were talking about how they used to roll 5 people deep in a Nissan Altima to drive to fights, share a room at a La Quinta Inn.
Really?
One of the guys said, he's like, oh yeah, guys be farting and staking up the room. It was real humbling, you know?
Well, now look at him. He's fighting in a 65,000 seat stadium, Allegiant Stadium. He's fighting a legend, Canelo Alvarez, but Bud's a legend too. And you know what? Last night, as you know, I hunkered in and I had to get a lot of work done, and it included studying this fight. I like Bud to win. It'll go the distance. It'll go nobody's stopping anybody in this fight. Those guys are too skilled defensively, too tough, too smart
to get knocked down.
No, there might be a knockdown, but there's nobody. Now, Canelo Alvarez has never been knocked off his feet. I don't think Bud has either. So neither of them been knocked off.
Canelo Alvarez lost to
he's never knocked off his feet.
He lost to Floyd Mayweather.
Well, he's got 3 losses. He has 3. He's 62-3-3. Okay, but never been knocked off his feet. I guarantee you, Floyd Mayweather didn't knock him off his feet.
And Bud has really never had a fight where he didn't look good during this run. I mean, there's been a couple closer calls.
Yeah, there have.
But he's always, I mean, the Spence fight was unbelievable.
Errol Spence. I like him to win in part because if you look at the last 6 fights for Canelo Alvarez, he has fought nobody. I think it could be a bit of a shock to his system after all this time not fighting anybody. What I saw too is, I saw a former boxer, Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. had a great breakdown of this fight, and he said Canelo Alvarez will win this fight, but he has to fight his game plan perfectly. And he really only has one game plan to go to. Bud can win it 6 different ways. So he liked Bud to win. And what I'd say about Bud is not only is he just a gritty, tough dude with power in both hands, really intelligent. He won't get out thought by a very smart fighter, Canelo Alvarez, who's been a pro since he's 15. Bud won't be outmatched mentally.
And there's always been this knock by the upper circles of boxing that Bud hasn't fought anybody. A lot of it is those people don't want to fight him.
Right. Canelo Alvarez took the fight surprisingly.
When he was with Top Rank's lineup of boxers, weren't great. And Manny Pacquiao wouldn't fight Bud Crawford. That Manny Pacquiao was
he wouldn't have. Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao was the fight that Bud needed, 5-7 years ago, but they wanted no part of Bud Crawford.
That was smart. Pacquiao wouldn't have. I think Bud would have taken Pacquiao out.
Well, Victor Postal, the Russian who was undefeated, that Bud hammered, was trained by Freddie Roach, who was also Pacquiao's trainer. And after that fight, the quote Freddie Roach told Manny, "You want no part of this guy."
No, and to be, I want to be fair to Pacquiao. He was older. He's just not in his prime, and he couldn't have. No, that would have been a bad. I think it would have been a mismatch.
The beauty is the fight is on Netflix, and I know there's some people. Oh, will Netflix be able to handle the load? They got it after that Tyson fight where they had trouble.
Tyson and Jake Paul.
Remember
who that was?
The Chiefs were on Netflix on Christmas, and there were no issues.
Okay.
So I have full confidence that there won't be any streaming issues for this one.
Yeah, this is just about that 65,000. Now, some people try to put it in perspective. Some people say fight of the century. I wouldn't go that far. I think Mayweather Pacquiao and Mayweather McGregor.
But Mayweather Pacquiao was a flawed fight because Pacquiao was injured.
Yeah, but it was still Mayweather.
He had zero chance to win the fight after you learned about his injury that he fought.
You didn't know when they fought though.
Yeah, because they both got paid. That was
Right.
part of the deal. But once you learned during the fight that Pacquiao was hurt,
I'm saying that this fight's a better fight. That fight was a bigger fight. All right, it was, Sean. I mean, come on. And then you can't argue that. And then the McGregor, like Mayweather McGregor, this is a way better fight. But that was great theater.
Yeah, marketing wins out over.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's been Bud's knock his whole career. He's just not a great marketer. Like he just doesn't, it's weird. Like the international Mexican fighters or Filipino or other Russian, they really get the whole countries behind him. Bud Crawford, I still feel, is well known in our parts of the country, but he's not as well known as he should be.
Right. So I hope people don't take offense, and you don't take offense by me saying that Mayweather Pacquiao is bigger. But Sean, you got to understand, Pacquiao's a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, that, because those names resonate worldwide. Bud's doesn't carry the weight that Pacquiao does.
Well, and the split for the fight also shows like that. Canelo Alvarez is expected to make up to 150 million, including 80 million.
That's ridiculous.
Where Crawford is going to get a sliver of that. I mean,
how much?
I thought I read 75-25. I mean, it's a significant advantage for Alvarez in terms of the split.
A lot of people were surprised Canelo Alvarez took this fight because he doesn't have that much to gain. You know what Bud has to gain? If he wins this fight, which I expect him to do, he will be regarded as the best pound for pound fighter in the world. It'll be hands down at that point. You can't say that about him right now. There maybe was a time you could, but not now.
Will he lead Nebraska out of the tunnel versus Michigan?
I think you would have him do it win or lose. That's what I think. I don't think like if he loses a close decision to Canelo Alvarez, which I don't expect, but if he does, I'd still have him lead him out.
Can you imagine though if he wins the fight?
Oh God!
And then he takes the team out of the tunnel from Michigan, carrying all the belts.
Oh God! Good night. I mean, talk about bringing the house down, and it'd be great. It gives me the chills to think about. See, Bud is a Nebraskan. He's a true Nebraskan, true Omahan,
North Omaha,
and never left his roots or turned his back on his roots, and loves Nebraska football. I mean. And I give Matt Rule praise, like some degree of praise for keeping Terrence Bud Crawford in the loop. On the other hand, it's kind of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you? Like what? That's not exactly
around as much before.
Well,
I think Rule's done the best job
for sure. Yeah, for sure. But why wouldn't you?
I mean, what you wouldn't want to do is upset Crawford, where he just all says, "I'm just Creighton. I'm an Omaha guy."
That sort of thing.
That'd be a disaster.
Yeah,
it's like, I'm just Creighton basketball. No, Nebraska. Like you want North Omaha and Bud Crawford a part of Nebraska,
and football. They are. Oh, the Nebraska fans will be watching this fight intently.
I'm pumped. All right, well, let's move on. Odds and ends. Special teams. Will we see Ja'Cory Barney run a pump back this week? I think you will.
Oh, all the way.
So Ja'Cory Barney has more punt return yards than Nebraska had in 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, and 2020.
Already. 87 last week.
And that number, 87, was more than all those seasons had combined.
And the numbers are the numbers, and you're paid to break down numbers. I look at what I see, regardless of numbers, is important. And what I see is aggression, really aggressive.
As Bill Callahan said, they did a good job of vicing the Gunners.
Oh, they did.
Remember Bill Callahan always would refer to that he goes, "We viced the Gunners."
Yep, you did. Their level of aggression on special teams is what I really like in the return game. Also, those 4 guys that we're talking about that viced those Gunners and literally took them off the field on that punt where Akron was in the end zone. Help me with this, Sean. Caleb Benning, Kamir Prescott, Rex Guthrie, and Jeremiah Charles. Those were the guys. Those guys deserve huge props. They took those Gunners off of the playing field.
And even, we've been critical a little bit of the kickoff return, but Kenneth Williams had a touchdown. He ran in the right hole. You know that, Sip?
Yeah.
Like
I know he did. I saw it. I saw the end zone shot of it.
And he just ran the wrong hole. I mean, is there somebody else they could try back there? Are they set on Kenneth
They like Kenneth Williams.
So that's their guy.
Well, I don't know if that's their guy. That's the kind of thing that Saturdays are beautiful. Let's see if he's still back there. I think he will. Sean, I don't think you give up on him. It's too early.
He's their guy. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Other Big Ten games of note. Friday night, New Mexico goes into UCLA.
God, that's a game to watch.
And Jason Eck, the coach of New Mexico, a very good, accomplished FCS coach from Idaho, a physical Big Ten guy himself. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave UCLA a tussle.
What you're watching for is if UCLA is just coming apart already, or will UCLA bow up, and say, no, we're not done,
and put one together.
Yeah. And remember last year they got off to a really slow start and then came on UCLA, including a win here in Lincoln. You don't want to ride them off, but it's been rocky so far.
Well, and if you're just being realistic, the Nico, I mean, the way they brought him in and how quickly it was like a shotgun wedding,
Yep, it was
just to expect that to work
with a new offensive coordinator, Tino Sinceri. I know, Sean. I mean, all this stuff that we've talked about over the years, which is like what? Continuity. Team programs need continuity. All of that seemingly has gone out the window to a large degree. And UCLA. So wait a second. Let me get this straight. You have a new offensive coordinator. You brought in a quarterback who arrived at campus when? Not in time for spring ball.
June.
Now you're going to make this work in September.
And get the locker room to buy in.
Hard to do. It's kind of a magic trick.
So we'll see what that looks like. Central Michigan. Oregon with an 11 a.m. game in Chicago. They play Northwestern.
Why is that on Fox?
Well, here's the deal.
What's the deal?
Fox wants Oregon on Big Noon. And when Oregon's at home, Big Noon kickoff will not air a West Coast game at 11. They just won't do it.
No, they can't.
So this is an opportunity for them to get Oregon on Big Noon kickoff when there's not a lot of good games this week in the Big Ten. Not a lot of good games. So this is more, all right, we're going to put Oregon on Big Noon, but will they be awake? I mean, for a West Coast team playing at 11 in a sleepy Evanston environment, that's one to watch. I mean, I'm just how they come out, because that will be, and I'd be interested if they travel out on Thursday, if they still come out on Friday for a game that early.
Sean, I think that game could go like the one we're covering.
Big blowout.
Yeah. 34 zip
well,
and a
the
half.
spread is only 20. I say only. It's 27.5. It's a Big Ten football game.
Yeah.
Maryland could be 3-0, by the way. They play Townsend. They're huge favorites over Townsend.
Okay.
Alabama, Wisconsin. It's a near 3-touchdown spread.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State, Villanova. Rutgers, Norfolk State. Purdue hosts USC. Purdue's 2-0, by the way. So we'll see.
Oh, I know. They look a little bit better, but
they got a good coach.
Yeah. Oh, Barry Odom has done a good job so far. That game is strangely interesting to me because you want to see if Purdue can sort of push USC. And what I would tell you, Sean, is if USC goes into Purdue and bludgeons them, it's another good data point that USC is going to be really a bear.
I don't care how bad Purdue is some years. They're hard to beat at home badly.
Yeah.
That environment and that setting there, it's just kind of sleepy. And
it is.
The energy and the juice is not always there.
Right. So
it's I can't explain it. I've been to all these places in the Big Ten, but it's hard to just, we've seen Nebraska do it at Purdue, but it's not exactly like a place where you're up to play for.
No. So if Lincoln Riley has his team dialed in real hard and Jaden is it Jaden how you pronounce his name? The USC quarterback.
Maeva. Yeah.
Off to a great start. They're off to Jaden Maeva is off to a really strong start.
So Michigan State could be 3-0. They play Youngstown State. Ohio State hosts Ohio. Illinois could be 3-0 with the win over Western Michigan. Iowa, UMass. But the night game is the big one, I think. Minnesota goes to Cal.
Yeah.
And they're only about a 2.5-point favorite on the road. PJ Fleck's team looked really good last week. So we'll see how they look. That's a 9:30 Central kick.
Wow. We have some good night games Friday and Saturday.
No, the Minnesota game is interesting to me because Nebraska goes out to Minnesota. I want to see what they'll look like.
Hard game to pick. What did you pick? You can say
I'm going to pick Minnesota.
I already picked it, so I picked Minnesota too.
I think Minnesota will win like 27-23, 27-21, something like that.
It's a game to watch closely. These games now, those, when it's Power 4 versus Power 4, you watch that one close.
Iowa, UMass. I just want to see if they can get their quarterback game with Gronowski going.
Boy, Iowa appears to be in some trouble. They appear now. Michael Severe, our friend, he says not so fast on that talk. But
Iowa does this all the time.
Yeah,
but they don't have Caleb Johnson.
They're slow. They are slow.
The receivers don't get open. Like
slow.
When Nebraska plays Iowa, you could lock up and man-to-man and handle them, I would think.
Yeah, and Gronowski's been a major disappointment so far. Major disappointment, both running and throwing. They don't have Michael, God bless you. He's our friend, but I don't see what you see. I don't see what you see, except what Sean says, which is Iowa.
They do what they do, and they have a formula that wins 7 to 9 games every year.
Yep.
And every 10 years they're
up
win
10 or 11. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other years are 7 to 9. And they have the schedule too, where they get to play Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin every year. They're the only Big Ten team that gets 3 guaranteed crossovers. So they have, and then they have Iowa State. So they schedule like-minded. I mean, they don't have to play over the years. Their schedules haven't been as tough as other teams.
Pretty tough this year.
It is this year.
Yeah. They got Oregon and Penn State, right?
So we'll see, but big game, 11 a.m., Nebraska, Houston Christian, Husker Online post-game live to follow. Game should end around 2:30. Ideally, we're probably on by 4:30.
Okay.
4. We'll see.
Yeah, we shoot for as early as we can.
We got on last week. The game ended at 10, and we got on at 11:30.
Ooh.
But we pushed it.
Yeah, we pushed it.
But we know because the numbers dictate that people want to go to the postgame show.
Yeah, we can't screw around.
This is not 1987 where people wake up on Sunday morning and just want to read Steve Sipple. They want it immediately. They want Steve Sipple immediately.
87, I was in high school.
With a 7.8 IPA.
No, you know what? I was not in high school in 87. I was in college.
They want to hear you talk about the game with the Zipline West Coast IPA.
Okay, that's what's going to happen then.
Immediately.
Okay, Sean.
I'm working on my column.
Maybe there's a time where I could almost do the show and write at the same time.
Knock on wood, though, if this game goes to plan, we should hopefully be ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
If we're writing deep in the fourth, there's a problem.
4:30.
All right.
4.
Because you want to get home for the Crawford fight.
Yeah. Well, that won't, now the Crawford fight, Sean, that ain't starting until 11 or more or after. Okay. I've been through this before.
No fight ever starts at 9.
Oh,
ever.
God, no. That fight won't start at 10. No, it'll be late. Get ready. You're going to get home plenty of time. You could probably almost drive to Vegas.
Well, we're going to some kind of concert on Saturday night.
What the hell is
down
that?
here in the Haymarket?
Who, you and your wifey?
With some people, yeah.
What concert is that?
A country concert.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, Sean.
I don't even know. I mean, it's one game at a time.
Yeah.
One event at a time.
Yeah, that's a cool way to look at it.
All right. Well, for Steve Sipple, I'm Sean Callahan, signing off here for another edition of Husker Online Headlines presented by Applebee's.